Hello and welcome to this video walkthrough of the Canon Composition project. Our final project should consist of 4 instrumental parts, and in each part will be a complete presentation of the whole Canon melody. So if you have a 4-bar repeating chord progression, which is what I recommend, then your entire Canon melody is going to be 16 bars long, and we'll repeat it a bit so that we can hear all of the voices against each other. Ultimately, each voice will have the entire melody in canon, so one after another. I'm going to start with a new score, and it might pop up as create from template, but I want to choose my instruments. I think I'm going to choose a little woodwind quartet. So I'll have a flute, an oboe, a B-flat clarinet, and a bassoon. You can rearrange the order here. I don't need to do that. Click Next. I'm going to do it in C major, 4/4. Everything there should be all right. I'll call it Canon Composition. Put your name here. This is my alter ego. You can say, you can put News to 11 Fall 2024 if you would like. You can put a copyright in there so nobody steals it from you. Here we go. First things first, let's set up our page. I'm going to put this in concert pitch so we don't have to deal with that transposing clarinet part. And I'm going to switch it from page view, this is down at the bottom of the page, to continuous horizontal. And I'm going to zoom in. I zoomed in by holding down Control or Command and the scroll wheel up and down. There's also a zoom button down at the bottom. I just want to have it nice and big for this video. First thing I want to choose is a chord progression. I'm going to go with the classic singer-songwriter 1-5-6-4. You know, your Don't Stop Believin' and your Jewel songs and Alanis Morissette. C, G, A minor, F. This is the part, these 4 bars are going to loop over and over again, and we are going to write melodies in each of these parts that will work against that and will work with the other instruments at the same time. And then we are going to be moving those individual parts, like this melody, so that it moves from here to become measures 5 through 8 of the first melody. And this one becomes measures 9 through 12, and so on. So we're going to write it vertically and then move it to become an extended horizontal thing. My first thing, I don't really want to hear the chords. Maybe I'll leave them in for now, and then I'll silence them. So I want to write a melody that's over the C major chord. For the most part, I really want to stick to chord tones as well. So let's do, this is beginning, so now you'll notice here I put in a passing tone on that C. I'm going to turn my volume up on the playback a little bit. I put in a passing tone there. I should keep track of that because it's going to clash if I have other notes that are dissonant intervals against it. So maybe I want to make sure that on this offbeat in all the parts I have something that'll line up with that C. Otherwise, all the tones are just part of the G major chord. A minor. There we go, and an F chord. There. Let's hear what it sounds like. We'll hear the chords too. All right, perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and mute the chords. The chords are on the flute part, so they're called chords.flute. But let's not hear those anymore. Now we'll write an oboe part in which we are trying to fill out the chord. By the time we get to the bottom here, where we've written 4 separate parts, we want to make sure that we have all 3 notes of this C major chord sounding all the time. So let's start with, well, that one left off on E. Assuming that this is going to now become measure 5, what we're writing in the oboe part, I kind of want to leave off in a good melody place. So how about a half note E? Oof, that's a little too... There. Oh, it's going so wrong. It's just playing things in the wrong octave. Okay, let's see. How about a C? The A, there we go. Once again, I've written a non-chord tone. I've got a couple non-chord tones in all the parts, but I'm kind of looking at what the intervals are. This is a perfect 4th. That's not going to bother me. This is a perfect 5th, so we're good. I could write something that goes in parallel 3rds with that melody. So I'm being a little bit counterpointy here. Mostly I just want to make sure I'm writing chord tones. How about... Oop. I don't like that low C in the oboe. But as you're writing this, you do not need to think about writing melodies that seem idiomatic for each instrument, right? Writing these 4 bars and thinking I'm writing an oboe melody is not the approach we want, because this is actually going to become measures 5 through 8 of the flute part. And whatever you write in the clarinet part is going to become measures 9 through 12 of the flute part. So we are not trying to write idiomatically for each instrument in each part, because this is going to become one long melody that everyone plays. Still, I think I'm going to take that up. Okay. Now we start on the clarinet, but let's listen to what we have so far. See? And see how nice it is that these went in 3rds? I can make that a little tie to get a little bit of rhythmic interest. As I proceed here, I'm looking to create more motion in points when there is less motion in other voices, right? Each instrument then kind of gets a moment to shine in each spot. So while the flute is a little more active at the beginning, I gave less activity, just a long note, to the oboe. And so maybe I will try to do a little bit of 8th note activity at the end of this bar in order to balance that out. All right, I've got C and E. A G would be nice. I can go up to a G here. Let's do... Will a B sound good? Yeah, a B will sound good against... Oh, not against a C and an E. I thought that was an E. So let's do... Go down to... Against C and G. That's going to sound just fine, right? This will be a little bit of a suspension that resolves. A mild dissonance that will resolve. I don't want to duplicate what the oboe is doing, so Here, let's take a little activity. Oops. How about 2 quarter notes? E, D, B. How about a... I'll need to get... I'm going to put a G there. I'm making a mental note to myself that at this moment I will have a G and a G and a D, and I won't have a third in the chord at this moment. So I want to definitely make sure that the bassoon, that this last part, has that missing note when we get there. Filing that away for later. How about... I could step up G up to A, but then I'd be doubling what's happening in the oboe part. Plus we kind of have a parallelism thing going on there. It's not a big deal here. I'm going to go down to E, though. Oh, we've got that same thing. Let's go up to... There's already some nice activity. We haven't had any long notes in the clarinet part. How about oops, a C. And now the F chord. Got all this activity there. Let's just have something a little bit longer to start. We have an F and an A. How about a C? How about this? That will be in third with what's happening currently in the flute part, and it'll sound nice. A little bit of... There we go. Let's hear it. Oh, that's really nice. Okay, now I'm reminding myself that at the end of the second bar of this, I need to get the third of that chord. Wouldn't hurt to have the third of the chord on the next downbeat, too. Okay, this one left off on, let's see, A, B. Now the bassoon part is going to have to get transposed an octave lower, but otherwise... Let's see, let's start here. We can leap an octave. How about a half note? We have C, we have E, we have C, we need a G. Remember, I want to have a B here. How about thirds with the clarinet? And let's have a half note B. Oops, I hit a whole note. Delete that tie, make that half note. And there's no third here, so let's make a C. F. About a quarter note. All that other activity. And how about, I'll take eighth notes there. The bassoon gets to have a little bit of activity. We have F in the clarinet, C, A. We could do any note. Let's do A, G, F. There. Okay. We've finished our task of writing all the notes. Let's hear it. Oh, that sounds so nice. At this point, be sure to save your project. I'll save it on my computer. I'll call it I did a sample one, so this is my second one, Canon Composition 2. That's the one I'm going to finish with. Now, I'm going to delete my chord symbols. I don't need those anymore. And I'm going to take these 4 4-bar fragments and I'm going to turn them into one 16-bar fragment. I could take my pick of which one to put next, but I do like this oboe part. Basically, I want to say when this one ends, which one do I want to start on? So I want to be in a similar range. I'm going to take that and I'm going to copy it, Control C or Command C. I'm going to paste it there. And that one left off on an F. I want to take this one to go next. Select it. By the way, that is click in the first bar, shift click in the last bar, Control C, copy, and paste. And finally, the bassoon part. Choose those, take it, paste it. It is way too low. To adjust octaves, hold down Command or Control, press up arrow, and we've changed our octave. And now that is our entire Canon melody. We can now erase those 4 bars that we wrote in the other parts. We've turned this into one 16-bar melody. It's a long Canon theme. It's nice. And should sound good all the way through. Sounds nice. It did complain when I tried to make it play a low B, and it doesn't even have that note on the synthesizer. We could transpose the whole thing up to a little bit higher key. Why not? I'm going to go back to the beginning. I'll just select everything. Command A. Transpose. This is optional. I just think it'll sound a little better if I transpose up to E flat major. It'll be a little bit nicer range for the flute anyway. All right, now I'm going to take that entire melody, 16 bars. Actually, I'm going to do this first. I am going to... No, never mind. I changed my mind. I was going to add in the repeat marks, but I'm going to take that entire melody. I'll do that later. Take it, copy it, and the first thing I want to do is I want to repeat it. I want to hear this whole thing more than once. Because once I add in the canon, all of the instruments are only going to be playing together for the last 4 bars. We'll never even get a full repetition. So I selected it all, and I want to repeat it. Let's say I'll repeat it twice. Press R to repeat what you have selected. I'll repeat it twice. And there, now we have the entire thing. I'm going to go to the end. I can press the end button to get that. And select the last bar, back to the beginning. Now I've selected the entire 3 times through the melody there. Now let's drop this into the oboe part, but 4 bars later. So beginning of measure 5 in the oboe part. And now another 4 bars later in the clarinet part. And now another 4 bars later in the bassoon part, and down an octave. That's a lot of ledger lines, but it's not actually too bad for the bassoon. Why don't we take it down another octave? Nothing wrong with a little bit of a couple octave split. Okay, now this is the thing I was going to do before. I want to show in the top line, which is the flute part, where the canon entries are. And they happen every 4 bars, so I'm going to put one here. I'm just going to select the whole bar, go to repeats and jumps in the palettes, and put a sign there. That indicates that this is a canon entrance for the next voice. Let me put that here too. And here where the last voice enters, and have the sign. One last little bit of editing. So we now should have every instrument playing the entire Canon melody several times. And then it's going to happen that the first voice drops out, flute voice drops out, and then the oboe drops out, and the clarinet. I kind of don't want that. I kind of want to just have it end on a chord. So I'm going to leave this bar blank. I'm going to choose it and delete all the notes. And then I'm going to delete these bars. From here to the end, shift click, command delete or control delete to delete measures there. And let's give a last chord. Ooh. Oh yeah, that should be fine. We already have a third. Actually, very nice. Okay, let's switch out of concert pitch. Let's switch back to page view. And there is our complete composition. Let's listen to it once through. Ah, very pretty. Save your file, upload that MuseScore file to Canvas, and you are all set to go. If you have any questions, let me know, and I can talk about it in class, or I can demonstrate things to you here in my office. Thanks very much, and have fun composing.